Hi, this is Sir Alan Mooney. I'm here in the studio at the Ohio Cannabis Institute. We got one of our special friends and guests, the new president of the Ohio Cannabis Institute, right down here from Cleveland, Ohio, visiting constantly. I think he may make Columbus, the capital city, his new home. Look, the marijuana industry is already changing the population of Ohio. We got one better man moving to Columbus. And he's here in the studio with us right now. And I'm Sir Alan, and I'm just as sassy as I can be sometimes, so I enjoy this type of thing. And we're going to go right to Johnny right now, so here we go. Hey John, how you doing?
Hey guys, how are you? How are you, Sir Alan? Fred?
I'm going to come over here and join you,
Good
Johnny.
to see you, Johnny.
Everyone out there on the internet, how are you?
So here we are in the studio, brother.
Friday at 4:20.
Yeah, your new office, huh?
Yeah.
And as the new president, did they give you a big salary increase with that?
Yeah, there's a lot of behind the scenes things we're talking about.
There are some wild things. If you know John, he's probably literally the most informed person right now about cannabis in the state of Ohio. And I'm talking about on any level you want to go, from growers, and we got some 3,000 growers here in Ohio.
Yeah, a lot. There's a lot.
And we just got back from the Pittsburgh and from the World Medical Conference
Yeah,
Expo.
that was awesome too.
Was that something else?
Yeah, they did a good job.
John's got a big one coming up too, down here in the capital city. He's taking over our convention center. He's going to have an expo extraordinaire.
That's right.
Right here in Columbus, Ohio. You don't have to go to California or Denver or Arizona or anywhere else. In fact, if you're from Ohio and you're in those areas, you ought to come on home. It's starting to happen here, isn't it, John?
Yeah.
And John, you're a writer as well as a personality.
Yeah.
I like it. Johnny Science.
I'm a man of many talents, I guess.
You are, and your computer, your
Nerd,
podcasts
yeah.
are awesome, man.
Thanks.
His recordings are excellent. His work is great, but you're also a writer. I just really discovered the journalist in you.
Yeah, I write a blog here or there. I mean, a lot of that work on the website is mine. A lot of it's some other contributors.
Hey, if you haven't read it yet, we'll get it reposted for you. But John wrote an angle, and it was the guy that opened up the story. I'm going to tell you this. He opened the story up.
Yeah.
So you're an expo investigative writer, journalist on something that should be near and dear to everybody in the state of Ohio. I am the pro-medical cannabis czar of Ohio, hopefully of the world, because I think everybody should be allowed to self-medicate. We shouldn't just leave it to the privileged and the rich that can afford it. We ought to let every citizen in America grow at least 6 budding plants that they know have no insecticides, no pesticides, no germicides, no sprinkling of soda dust on it or anything else, right? No hiding the mold. You ought to let every citizen have a free right to self-medicate. That's my attitude. That is medical, and that's why I like him. He does agree with me. That's the amazing thing for an old man like me.
Yeah.
But more importantly, you just wrote a great blog article. You want to tell the audience a little bit about it?
Yeah, it was about a month ago when the incident happened. The coverage has been
Right here in
spotted
Ohio. This is national news, boys and
up
girls.
around Cleveland. A man had his house raided over what appeared to be only, in the end, 5 grams of marijuana concentrate.
He'd just flown in from Colorado. He was a medical needs patient.
Now, there's a lot to this story that's still developing, so we don't know if there was any other things.
TSA supposedly turned him in.
They raided his house, but they gave him back his medicine, and now since then there's been more that's come out of this story. But I think what a lot of it goes to say is that
How did the police conduct themselves? Did they throw flash bombs in the house and kick in the front door and create all kinds of damages? And did they put his name in the newspaper, or did they act like respectable people?
Yeah, no, they, I don't know if they realized they made a mistake and then they didn't want it to get any bigger.
I actually read your article. You know good and well that the local police up there are to be, and their commander should be commended, because they acted like the kind of people, as a minister, I'd like to think live in my state. They went through and got proper search warrants, did everything the right way to start with. They knocked on the front door. They did not knock the door down, even though they sent in their specially trained SEAL team, right? You have to be prepared, you have to protect the officers first.
Right.
I think that's responsible. When the gentleman came and opened the door, they were respectful, they served him with the search warrant, they explained what they were doing. And even though I think it still is horribly wrong that the political legal process is allowing that, you can't hold these policemen responsible for doing a job that they're told to do.
They were doing their job, and they've still been respectful with releasing his
But when
information.
they realized
and
this was
everything,
less than a misdemeanor, they did the other responsible thing. What they do, John?
too. Gave him back his medicine.
And they apologized.
And
And they
apology.
offered if there was any,
Damages.
that they would get taken care of.
Mhm.
Now, by the way, if every policeman in the state of Ohio, this ought to be put on national news, because this is how I expect our law enforcement to act in America. I wish our prosecutors, our judges, and Ohio's got some of the finest that can show the way here. Our people here are pretty well trained in Ohio. They know these are families and people that are neighbors and friends, and they're waking up to this stupid thing that they call a war on drugs, aren't they, John?
Yeah, it's
So you got to, anyway, on your blog, how many hits did you get on this story?
at about 6,700, almost 7,000 on that
Oh.
particular story, and now other news agencies have picked it up.
And I hear it's
ran
going
with it.
viral out on the internet.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
It's going viral.
It's going to go around, this story should go around the world.
Tom Herron just tweeted something out. He's actually the attorney on the case, so it'll be interesting to see how this
Now,
develops.
did they use the defense, did he have medical certification?
Yeah, I
Did he
think.
use Rob Ryan's form?
Yes, he did use Robert.
If you don't know Rob Ryan, he is one of the major advocates here in Ohio for the community. He created a form with some legal assistance that he thought should be the certification form used by the state. And in fact, put out a brochure on, what's it called, what kind of defense?
Affirmative defense.
Affirmative defense. And in an affirmative defense, you're saying, I am a medical need person. I have a certification from a doctor.
Doctor, yep.
I have only medication in my possession that's in the quantities that meets the state's requirement, and my medical condition under the state qualifies. Is that about right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
It's pretty thorough, and it's nothing.
I've not been sure of this defense, by the way. I think all of us have been watching with a great interest, and I'm sure a lot of doctors who want to help patients. I mean, it's pathetic. When I had a friend today with me whose wife is dying, and then he finds out his mother is dying, 98 years old mother. And his mother's in pain and discomfort, as well as his wife is in pain and discomfort. And wouldn't it be wonderful as a loving, caring minister if I could walk in there and say, here, vaporize a little bit of this, and you're going to relax, and you're not going to feel the pain.
Yep.
And it may not, because of the late stage you're in of cancer, heal you, but at least you don't have to be vomiting and in misery and in pain while you're laying here. You'll be articulate and able to smile and talk to your family, and they'll see you with a smile on your face before you die,
Yeah.
instead of the horrible agony that maybe these people have to face. And then to turn around and be able to do the same thing, not just for his mother, but after the passing of his mother and his wife, my friend needs to be able to let go of some of that pain and hurt too, because it's hard when you lose loved ones like that. Right?
It is, yeah.
But Rob Ryan is one of the big advocates here in Ohio. He's out of the Blue Ash, Cincinnati area.
He's actually going to speak at our event. He's going to do some emceeing at our event.
This guy's just brilliant. If you got a grandmother, mother, father, if you don't take them to this event, go get your pastor. Take your pastor to this event.
Yeah.
Tell him that Pastor Alan Mooney is going to be on the stage. I used to be on the Ohio Council of Churches Foundation Board. And say, you ought to hear this man talk. He's a holy man, right?
Yeah.
And we'll give them both doses. We'll give them, and they'll see why, as a holy man, that I'm such an advocate for this. But the alternative, that defense, has been a very questionable thing. Some attorneys, some judges say it's, until the law's written, you can only follow what the law has. And the law right now would say that probably what this man did up in Cleveland was the right exact procedure. I'm so glad the policemen up there, though, didn't take it down that path. They simply looked at it and said, the amount is so small, it's probably not a misdemeanor. And he's been honest with us, he was cooperative, he was polite, and they've apologized and done the right things in every level that I could see.
The police did say, though, that until these rules are finally written and doctors can start writing
They have to
recommendations,
do what they have to do.
there may be some,
But they would never have
prosecution
probably made that raid if they had known what they were dealing with to start with.
And they would have wasted their time over $5,000. There's other things to the story that led them to believe there was more to it, but
Right.
clearly they
Well,
thought.
our police departments all have budgets, they all get it, and by the way, I don't believe in the right to take assets without due process. And if something like that was going on, I think it should go all the way to the Supreme Court, because I believe our Supreme Court here in Ohio would not stand for confiscation of assets without due process. You'd have to prove it had a criminal process in that money before. You just don't go in and take somebody's house, their car, their assets. But our police departments all over Ohio, some of their budgets are 25% from those type of assets.
Yeah.
And we shouldn't have our police department time being wasted and then having to rely upon ill-gotten assets to operate. We're turning our own police departments into criminal minds when we do that. That's just wrong to rob these men of their moral right to be upstanding policemen that are proud of their town and their citizens and their neighbors, and they don't have to take assets from ill-gotten ways to support themselves.
Right.
You know, this whole thing, it's time this war ended, and we got back together as what we are, and that's a nation. A bunch of good citizens that love each other.
And
compassionate people.
The police seem to be cooperative in the right situations. All they want to do, the law is black and white to them, you know, until the law.
I'm telling you, Ohio's got some of the best policemen in this nation. And I'm not saying that to glorify or help anybody, but man, you go out to some of these places and they're fighting conditions that are war zones. I mean, I think they're worse than Afghanistan or Beirut or Egypt. And I mean, I've been around the world. I just got back from Israel where they were lobbing mortar shells. I mean, for goodness gracious, as a tourist, that's a horrible thing to have mortar shells, having to drive around them and stuff. Guys with machine guns. Thank God we're in America.
I agree.
All right.
And Ohio.
Johnny is going to be running things. If you don't know him, you ought to get down to the convention center and meet him. Get his autograph, guys. This guy's going somewhere. When this story goes viral, he's going to put Ohio on a map in no way that anybody else can.
I'm trying.
Johnny Signs.
I'm out here kicking and screaming for everybody to make
All
things
right.
happen. See you guys.
It's been great having you with us today. We look forward to seeing you again tomorrow at 4:20.
4:20.
See you later.
Here we are. Bye-bye.
Plant matter. Just vape away.